All right, time now for all things Gators. Dan Hicken, Frangie. What's up, Hick?
Oh, man, I'm stoked. I'm so excited about this time of the year. Kind of. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs. But here in Jacksonville, peeps, it's Florida, Georgia week.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it, and we're thrilled about it. And we could tell stories here for 5 hours. We won't. We'll focus on this game and scratch our heads and wonder how in the world can we repeat the Muschamp game when
rush for all the yards.
Yeah.
I'll say this: we won't tell stories because we could, but I will tell you this: the one thing,
Yeah.
Dan and I between us have seen almost about 75 of these.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that between us, I had 31 in a row until I started doing Jags games.
Yeah.
37 total. You're right there, probably more than that. You know?
We're up in the 40s now.
Yeah,
low 40s and counting.
So we have we've watched a lot of these. Dan and I have, and we love this game in Jacksonville. What it means for Jacksonville,
Right?
For the football game. I'll tell you this.
Yes, sir.
Georgia's better.
Yeah.
I think Georgia might have the best team. I think they might win the thing again.
I know.
He's the modern Alabama. He's the urban Gators, the Spurrier Gators, and we know that.
Yeah.
But I think Billy has found something, Dan. There's a toughness. I don't think they can win this game. I'm not going to misrepresent this.
I like what you're saying.
But I think they found a toughness
I so
to them.
hope it's true.
Yeah, I know.
I so hope it's true.
Me too. And they're hard to analyze. They're hard to analyze.
Yeah.
Because it turns out now the 4 teams they've beaten we now know aren't very good.
Seems like
Stanford, UCF, Mississippi State, Kentucky, or they're worse than we thought they would.
But we wanted to come in and say, Georgia, Kentucky, 13-12. Hey.
But the other side of that is the 3 teams they've lost to are good top 10 teams.
Yes.
They're very good. So, but I think I want to go through this and ask your opinion. I think he's made them tougher defensively.
Yes.
I think there's a solidarity. I think they play for him. I think they play hard. I think they have gained I think the Florida Gators have gained some belief. I think it started with that really close game against Tennessee they should have won, and then they came back and pulverized what had been a physical Kentucky team.
Right.
And I think
most surprising outcome of the year to me for that.
Same here. So what's happened is they've gained a lick of confidence. They believe in that locker room that they can beat whoever. There's a toughness. They're together. I don't know if they can win that game, but I wasn't sure they'd get to that point. And that alone, I think, forget about how good they are for now. We'll get the Lagway and all the rest. But the solidarity, the toughness, the belief in the locker room, I think that's real. I really do.
I agree. And you can go back and listen if you want to. You don't have to. And listen to these podcasts. And I promise you that 4 weeks ago, I was talking about that Georgia-Texas double dip and being like, name your score, 100 to 10.
Me too.
I don't feel that way anymore. I'm proud of what those kids have done in the face of everything that's gone on. And to Napier's credit, man, he does. They love him, and they play for him, and they play hard, and it's DJ Lagway's team. Now, with that said, with DJ Lagway, he's going up against a Georgia defense that, Kirby's going to throw everything at him, confuse him, and he's so talented. But he'll probably make a couple rookie mistakes, I'm sure. So those things hurt Florida in terms of trying to pull this major upset.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. 10 games from now, DJ Lagway will be a better quarterback than Graham Mertz would have ever been.
Yes.
Okay. He's got more skills. We know that.
Yes.
But for today, it's a shame Mertz, who knows how to play, isn't in the game. But he's not. So we know the story. Lagway has been very good on the deep balls because the deep balls have been there. Kirby Smart has really good defensive players and is a really good coach. And obviously, he's going to take away the deep ball. Now, so what does Billy counter with? Is there more of an RPO? We haven't seen Lagway much in the run game, and he's very good at it.
Yeah, but we also don't have much behind Lagway.
He's got to slide. Yeah, you're exactly right. But we haven't seen much in the run game. So I wonder if you see more of that. Quick game, get the ball out quick. I don't think you can. Now, one thing about Lagway, in his DNA, he's going to take some shots, which I love.
Yes.
The one thing Mertz didn't do enough was taking shots. Lagway's going to take some shots. So you got to take him at the right time. But Kirby's going to counter with that. I think this. If Lagway in Florida offensively can start well, just start well against that great defense and those great rush ins, and gain a little confidence, put just a little doubt into Georgia's mind.
Right.
Get to 3 minutes left in the half, and it's a 7-point game. Either way.
Yeah.
3 minutes left. Get to the locker room in single digits.
Right.
Then I think this game can be mysterious, man.
Okay.
These Florida-Georgia games can be, the ghosts come out in these games.
I love the ghosts.
Both ways.
Can we find some ghosts?
Yes, we need.
I like some ghosts.
One good ghost.
Where's a ghost?
But do you agree with that? Just somehow get to the third quarter.
That would be
when
nice.
It's anybody's game. I think that has got to be the challenge for Florida.
Well, I said this, and this is more of the fan in me, and I think I asked you this question. Am I crazy to think that in the next 2 weeks We'll look up in the fourth quarter. I'm not saying they're going to win.
Right.
But I'm saying we look up in the fourth quarter and go, got a chance.
I am
in one of these games.
I am fearful that won't be the case this week.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think Georgia caught Texas off guard.
No.
I think Georgia's 3 touchdowns better than Texas.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think this week, my opinion is by the time we get to the fourth quarter, this one will have been decided.
And the other thing you have
That's my fear.
And the other thing you have to remember, and this is known. I mean, Smart is their Spurrier.
Right.
He won't let them not be up for a game in which, we're going to win this game, Coach. Don't worry. No, this is Florida, Georgia.
That's right.
We're going to kick their ass. That's what he wants.
No question.
And he'll probably give ETN the ball 35 times.
No question.
Right? And if we don't stop him, he's going to have a big day. And we'll have to deal with that as opposed to, pulling Brandon Spikes off the sideline, letting him hit Sean Moreno one time at the beginning of the game and lay on him.
Right.
That's what I long for, Frank.
I do too.
I long for that.
My fear is that by the difference in success in recent years and talent manifests itself early in the game, and we get to the half, and it's 24-6 and Florida spinning.
Yes.
Now, even if they find it a little bit, it's too late.
Yes.
That's my fear.
Yes.
And Georgia gains confidence. And I will tell you, if you haven't been to if you're watching this podcast, you've probably been to Florida Georgia games.
Right.
But if you haven't been, it's amazing, no matter what team you're for, it's amazing how loud that half stadium can be.
Yeah.
You can't explain it.
Good point.
You would think a half stadium isn't as loud as a full.
Half is loud.
You can't imagine how when the Spurrier years, you can't imagine how loud that Gator section was. And in the Vince Dooley and now the Kirby Smart years, it's like those 45,000 or those 42,000 people or 142. It's amazing how loud.
And there's sort of a badge of honor if you can empty the other side.
No question.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's almost like that's the goal for every. Now, obviously for Florida, that wouldn't be the case, but Georgia's goal, I'm sure, is to empty the other side. That's what there's nothing like looking up in the fourth quarter and enjoying a half-filled stadium.
So let me, you go first.
Okay.
What are the keys to, if Florida's going to win this game, and by the way, it's a 17-point line, not 37.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Florida's going to win this, and I'll say this too.
Yeah.
Florida's one play at Tennessee, from being 5-2, 3-1, and ranked 18th.
Yeah.
That's how close they are to being
fair.
But they didn't make it.
They didn't.
Give me 2 or 3 keys that Florida has to do to win the game.
I say stop the run. I say stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. That physical defense that we've seen. Carson's a good kid and has played well. He's had some miscues though, and so if he does throw it to you, you better catch it. But stop the run first and foremost. And I still think, even though Georgia probably will take away the deep ball, Lagway's got to hit on a few of those. I don't think we can go dink, 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 dink down the field. And maybe Trey Wilson, though, maybe we give it to him on a couple of those.
Right.
But Georgia's so fast. It's so challenging. And, it's funny because we've had good starts against these guys. But, that's rivalry and everything playing in. How about you?
I think the first thing you said is the most important thing in the game.
Yeah.
I would stack the box.
Yeah.
ETN's a good back.
Yeah.
They always have a bunch of NFL offensive linemen. I would stack the box.
Yeah.
And Carson Beck's a good player, but he did throw 3 interceptions at Texas too.
Yeah.
If I would make them throw the football.
Yeah.
More than anything you do offensively, defensively. And if they beat you over the top of the passing game, then so be it. But I would not get gutted the way A&M gutted them,
right,
and the way Miami gutted them with the run game.
Right.
So the first thing, even if you have to take some chances on the back end you don't want to take, I would take those chances. So the first thing is stack. So you hit it. The first thing you said would be the first thing I said.
Oh, good.
The second,
great minds think alike.
Yes, they do. Or
Florida
bad minds,
fan.
but we all think alike.
Or dumb minds. Yeah.
But I think offensively, you got to hold the ball. You got to hold the ball.
Yeah.
You don't want to track meet with these guys.
No.
And which means you've got to make first and second downs critical because you don't want 3rd and 8 against Georgia.
Right.
You don't want 3rd and 11 against Georgia. You have got against Georgia. You have got to have 3rd and manageable. Hold the ball. I think Florida's better with a little tempo. But I would manage my tempo in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
You got to hold the ball, and then so stop the run, long, slow drives. I do want to see Lagway in the run game. So believe me, I get nervous too. I hope he slides. I hope he steps out of bounds.
But you got to play the game.
But that's a weapon that people haven't seen yet.
Yes.
I still go back to the high school tapes.
Oh.
The 75 and 80-yard touchdown runs. The one part of the Lagway game we have not yet seen.
That's fair.
Is those long runs.
He doesn't, and I don't know if he's held back. He doesn't seem like he's as fast on the college field as he did in the high school game.
But when
he's a big kid
on
now.
the one play against Kentucky on the third and whatever, where he kept it on the RPO, went for 30 yards.
Yeah.
He looks fast then.
Okay.
So I think but I want to see Lagway in the run game. I don't want to see him get hurt. Obviously, that'd be devastating.
Right.
But I want to see him in the run game some. I think that's real. I think quarterbacks in the run game. I watched what Texas A&M did both to Florida and then to LSU when the Marcel Reed, the running quarterback, went in, and it changed the game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Lagway, he's going to be a great deep ball passer. But Lagway in the run game, they got to run it some. Short passing, I don't think the deep one's going to be there as much. You got to try it some. But you got to stuff Georgia's run. You got to make Carson Beck. Carson Beck's good, but you got to make him beat you.
One other thing I want to touch on, big picture here, and it's an uncomfortable big picture for the University of Florida.
Yeah,
and a lot of folks, everybody likes Billy Napier. We've talked about this ad nauseum. But here's reality now and what's happening. Just a little recruiting note.
Okay,
the recruiting class is not good and is teetering on disaster.
Right,
and I get it. They have no idea who the coach is going to be.
Sure,
right. I mean, it's obvious. We know what's happening out there. So if somehow Florida could win one of these next couple of games and keep the momentum and make some things happen and sort of, again, because if you're going to make a coaching change, that's fine. But I think you would agree with me about this. One thing we've learned in our advanced ages, you better know who you're going to get or that you can improve the program.
100%.
Because we've done it too many times where we've just made the move to make the move. Right. And sure, maybe said person deserved to be fired. Yeah. But if you don't know who you're going to get, man, you can go further backwards and you fall into this abyss that we're in.
Dan, you have hit it. That is what you said is the thesis statement of Florida football.
Yeah.
And we're not criticizing fans.
No,
we're fans too.
I get it.
But and this isn't just a Gator fan thing. Sports fans today think the easy fix is fire.
Yeah.
Bench.
Yeah.
Get rid of.
Yeah.
It's not always the easy fix. And fans think fire. And listen, I'm not going to be a hypocrite.
Right.
I went early. I don't know that Billy Napier's ever going to be a great sideline coach.
Right.
I don't know that he's ever going to be great at managing timeouts and managing the game. You and I on Twitter our frustrations come out. I don't know that he's ever.
That's only during the game.
Yeah, right. But I don't know that he's ever going to be good at that. I don't know. But I also don't know if Dabo Swinney's good and he's got 2 rings. You know, I think if you can manage. So I'm not. This isn't a pound the pulpit for Billy Napier.
No.
What we're saying is make sure.
Yes.
And as to the recruiting class, the narrative out there now is get to 6 wins, he stays. Whether that's right or not, the narrative is he's got 4.
Yeah.
The expectations are that nothing's laid down, that he's going to get Tallahassee.
Right.
You would think now they're not very good. You're going to win in Tallahassee if everybody's healthy. So can you get one of the next 4?
Right.
And I think the narrative is they don't want to fire him.
Right.
They don't want to pay the buyout.
Right.
Florida, by the way, is not flush with cash. I can tell you this. There's this belief that there's all this money.
Yeah.
It's not accurate.
Right.
So you don't want to fire the guy. And I believe in my heart of hearts that the best thing that could happen is one more year with Lagway, Jaden Baugh. They found some players in that secondary.
Some young kids who can play.
They found some linebackers. They bring back almost the entire offensive line other than the right tackle who's the transfer. One more year trying to do it like this, I think would serve them well. I'm not saying Billy's a great coach. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's a coach forever. He does some things that drive me bonkers. But I don't know that the answer is out there. I really don't.
And I worry that come Saturday night, a lot of opinions will change back again.
Yeah, because there's here's the reality. We're Gator fans.
Yes.
The reality is they can have 45-10 put on them.
Yes.
It may not, and I hope not, and I don't think that's where we're headed.
Right.
But the reality is this game could be 45-10.
Yeah.
You're naive if you don't think it could happen.
For sure.
And so here's what I'll tell you.
Yes, sir.
I don't think Florida's going to win.
You like the cover.
I think I'd be right on. I wouldn't play the game, but I'd be right on the number.
Okay.
The number's 17.
Yeah.
And I think 38-21 is where we're headed.
Okay.
So I think that's where. But I don't think we're headed to 58-10.
Okay.
I think we're headed to 30. I think we're headed to a game that by early third quarter you're playing uphill the whole game.
Yeah.
And that uphill game's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. So what do you think?
It's a lot of points, and I like how Florida's playing, and I'm rooting like hell for them. I just. It's a tough one. This is a tougher one. I think this is a tougher one than even a trip to Austin. So
I do too.
And I think Georgia's found itself.
Yeah.
And I think they're
ticked off.
Yeah, and they're going to start rolling here. But you never know. So play the game, see what happens. I would have told you we had no chance with Treon, Mac Jones, and Kelvin Taylor.
Yeah, that was the one. I love you going back to the game. I'll say this as we close. Those of us that love college football, if you're watching this, you're one of us, and Dan and I are certainly that. college football is amazing in that there's 130 teams in this division.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 130. But every year, there's 3 or 4 that are better than everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Sure.
There's 3 or 4 that are better than everybody.
Right.
Florida was in that 3 or 4 for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 or 4 that are better, and it's hard to beat one of those 3 or 4.
It's hard.
Whether it was Alabama, Ohio State, this year's Oregon, it's Georgia. It's hard. It's hard to beat one of the 3 or 4. It just is.
I agree.
And Georgia's one of the 3 or 4. Georgia's one of the 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the reality when you go into a game like this. You fight and claw and you hope and you get excited and you tailgate and you drink and you party. But the reality is it's a tough challenge.
Looking forward to it nonetheless, though. Go Gators.
Oh, love the game. Love the week.
Great.
Hope you're coming to Jacksonville.
Yeah, man.
Hope you're in RV City. Be safe. But it's a fun week, the most fun week of the year around here, no question. That's all things Gators. Dan Hicken, Frank Frangie.
SC-ortho.com, all your orthopedic needs in Jacksonville. Frank, good luck. Have a great week.
You too, buddy.
All right, bud. Thanks.